the meeting can continue since
we have quorum. We just go ahead and let you start off quick with let's just do the formalities, the call to order then. I guess we'll call to order at 12:04.
Okay.
And then we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. If that's all right, then we'll go ahead and rearrange the agenda. So, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
To the flag. To the republic.
States of America.
Which stands one nation.
To the republic for which it stands. Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. All right. So, we call this meeting to order. We'll go ahead and we'll do the roll call, and then we'll go ahead and jump over to just jump over the agenda real quick. So go ahead.
Okay. Adrian Trevino. George Narvaez. Omar Gonzalez Longoria.
Present.
Jose Angel Lopez. Arturo Tomás Benavides.
Present.
Present. Elizabeth Alonso.
Present.
Riarias.
Present.
Robert Judd Gilpin.
Present.
Jose D. Gonzalez.
Present.
And Hector Cortez.
Present.
Okay.
All right, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
We have a quorum.
Do we have any absences or?
Yes, we have 1, 2 people absent. Jose Angel Lopez
Okay.
and George Narvaez.
Okay. Somebody'd like to make a motion for the absences?
Move to excuse.
Okay. Judge? Okay. Second?
I second Adrian.
Looks like Adrian was moving her lips, so I'll go with her. Okay. Okay. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. No. Good deal. All right. Elizabeth?
Yes,
Go ahead,
Mr. Chairman, if I may make a motion to move all the actionable items up and leave the reports at the end. I do have to jump off the call, and I hope there's a quorum. Well, even if there's not a quorum, I guess the rest can continue, but I make a motion, please.
Second.
Anybody have any opposition to that? Everybody okay with that? All right.
No, just out of
All right,
curiosity, is it okay to rearrange the agenda items, or does it have to go out to public notice?
No, you can rearrange as long as there's a motion.
Okay. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, Elizabeth, you got the floor?
No, well, Mr. Miller, if you can just continue with the with the action items. Item number 6.1, please.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Chairman, first item is to consider a recommendation to Mayor and City Council lease agreement Laredo Aero Center Inc. and Laredo Aero Center Inc. DBA Signature Flight Support as lessees to change the name to Signature Flight Support LLC for 950-156, 950-157, 950-158, 2006-0113, 2008-032, 2008-0241, 2013-023, 2012-166, 2019-0152. All other terms and conditions remain unchanged in effect. And basically what this is, Mr. Chairman, is Signature is finally officially changing their name to the Signature Flight Support on their contracts. So it's more clerical than anything. It doesn't change the terms of their lease. Signature, as you know, is one of the two existing fixed base operators.
And there's no financial impact other than just name change, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve if there's no, as recommended by staff.
Liz, motion second.
This is Adrian, I'll second.
Adrian second. Anybody have any comments on this, or anybody like to have discussions on this? No discussions? Okay, all in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. Number 2 is to consider a recommendation to mayor and city council to authorize the city manager to submit a grant application, if offered, to execute grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Transportation under the Small Community Air Service Development Program for airport marketing air service at the Laredo International Airport, and authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents resulting from the award. So basically what this is, Mr. Chairman, is we are going for a grant that's offered yearly by the Department of Transportation. This year, this fund is about $10 million. We're still working on what this total package will look like. We'll probably ask for about $250,000 in marketing funds. And what this would allow us to do is we would receive a grant to market the airport, billboards, media, whatever it may be. So it is a very highly competitive program. Many airports apply to it, but it is funds that are set aside, particularly for airports of our size, primary non-hub airports, to allow for things like this, to market, to bring things to the community. So it's just to ask to go to seek these funds.
All right, so,
Motion that-
and so you all are applying, or y'all do the actual grant
Right.
application?
Yes.
Well, this is wonderful. I mean, if you can get some monies out there,
Yes. Always good to go for money if we can. Yes.
Yes. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Any second? Anybody else see any seconds? Any hand raising?
Second.
Okay, was that Tom?
Judd.
No,
Judd.
Judd.
Okay, Judd. Okay. Liz, okay, any discussion? I mean, I think it's a great idea getting trying to.
It was me, but my camera's
recommendation.
off.
What follows the process on this?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, what was that?
What's the process after this? It looks like we just consider a recommendation.
Yes.
After that, we just go.
Correct. So we will be submitting. We have till the 27th of this month to submit to the DOT. They'll probably make their selection in the springtime. They typically select between 10, 15 airports to receive a grant. So we will be notified probably spring, early summer if we receive the award.
Okay. Great. Well, any discussion on this? Any additional discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
All right. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. Chairman, can you just take a moment to recognize, we have another board member that came in, George Narvaez?
Do we have to do anything to adjust the
We can
previous
reflect
motion
on
in
the
reference?
attendance. Yes.
Huh?
If you can make a motion just to reflect it on the attendance that he's
Okay.
enjoying.
Anybody like to make that motion to make the adjustment for the attendance?
So moved.
The judge, second?
Second.
This, okay, so we'll go ahead and make the adjustment. All in favor, obviously, this is just a
Formality.
protocol. Fine, okay, yeah. All right, I guess we'll move forward to the third item.
Mr. Chairman, this is to consider a recommendation to the mayor and city council to ratify of the city manager's execution all necessary documents granting an easement and right-of-way to AEP Texas Central Company to install and construct certain electrical distribution facilities at the Laredo International Airport. Said easement being a 10-foot wide easement lying wholly within a portion of 34.45 acres of land, more or less, being out of the south part of Block 1 Laredo Airport Subdivision, Webb County, Texas, said tract of land conveyed to grantor on deed recorded in volume 478, page 471, deed records of Webb County, Texas, providing for an effective date. This is utilities for the airport itself. It's for phase 13 construction. Alejandro, I don't know, is there anything you wanted to add to this? I know it's a request of ours because it's for our equipment.
Mr. Chairman, this easement is just for providing an electric meter for the apron phase 13, and it's going to be provided for some forward light poles that we're going to have at the apron. That's a requirement. That's all. Thank you.
It looks like it has to be done anyway, and this
Yes.
is a AEP, so I
Right.
mean, not much more that we could do, but and take into consideration is for the improvement of the airport.
Exactly.
Anybody like to make a motion on this?
Motion.
I'm sorry, who's that? Omar?
Yeah.
Okay, Omar, motion, second.
Second.
Looks like Judd raised his hand there, so I'll go with Judd. Any discussion? Anybody like to make any discussions on this?
I don't have audio.
If there's no discussion, we'll go ahead and, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, hand raising's okay. Anybody opposed? Motion passes then.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, number 4 is to consider a recommendation to mayor and city council for approval of a selection and to negotiate with CBP Laredo LLC and owned and managed by the principals of FD Stonewater located in Arlington, Virginia, and executing a letter of intent for leasing land for the development of a federal government facility at the Laredo International Airport. There is no cost involved in this part of the selection and negotiation process. We had an RFP that was out last month, and we received 2 proposals. We put it together a selection committee made of different city entities. We made a selection and a recommendation to the advisory board for FD Stonewater. This would be development of the property off of Thomas Avenue over by where the park and ride is, and more people know where the Jalapeno Festival parking lot has been in past. We had this piece of land up for potential development in the first RFP we had out. We didn't receive anything in that was an immediate development. This proposal would be this group, CBP Laredo and FD Stonewater, working within their connections with the federal government to build a facility and lease it back to the federal government and doing a land lease through the airport for that location. So their proposal looks good. It looks attractive. It looks aggressive. I think it adds to that property that we're trying to develop on the west side. It would be right now, as the motion says, just for us to enter into negotiations with them to see as this, transgresses forward with that group and see what could potentially be developed in that location.
You're on mute. If you need to speak, unmute yourself, JD.
Okay.
Right.
Wonder how that happened. Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is great that somebody wants to come in and develop the airport more. It says that it is so the Stonewater people would be the ones leasing. And so do they already have negotiations with the federal government for a facility there, or could they change their mind and put any other facility?
It would be a federal facility. What this allows us to do is before they can enter into a more detailed negotiation with the federal government, they need to have a right to the property. So they need to be able to show the federal government that they do have the ability to develop on this location. And so that would be what we're doing here today. And then we would work with them if this is approved for a letter of intent from the city to FD Stonewater and CBP Laredo to develop this location. In return, they would take that to the federal government, and then they could enter into this lease agreement. Now, what they had proposed in their RFP is an aggressive schedule, that process, happening over the next couple of months, and then really starting into the surveying and soil samples, all the environmental stuff that would go along with the property, and then development as we go into 2022, 2023 of that. I would also like to say I do believe that one of their representatives is on the call today, Richard Mann. If Mr. Mann, if you'd like to provide any information to the Airport Advisory Board, you're more than welcome to do that at this time.
No, Jeff, this is Richard Mann speaking. I think you did a pretty good job of kind of the general path forward that we see, and we're really focused on really federal tenants only for the site.
Creative name, CBP Laredo.
Yes. If you can guess one of our top tenants, that's one of them.
And I know through the proposal, Vice Chairwoman, they do have these projects that they've successfully completed. I think nearest to here, McAllen, then also in Corpus Christi, they developed on the airport there and leased back to the Coast Guard unit a hangar facility. So in theory and logic, it would flow very much in that sense.
That's correct.
Is this part of the same group that we're working on the development that we did we had a presentation on a couple of months back with Mr. Cisneros?
No, that is AFCO. Yeah, different group. This is the development that was approved by the advisory board for both the AFCO and 270. That's completely separate. That 100 to 140 million investment. So this is separate from that. So another really good positive news feedback for the airport and the community that this development is happening aside from in conjunction with the other two.
Okay. Thank you.
And Ashley, I think
anybody would like to make a motion on this?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I don't know, Elsie, you were going to mention more information for the board. Is that
just so they can get their bearings? I think Ashley has a picture there on the packet of the property location, just so they can see it. There it is.
So it would be two locations, as you can see, the park and ride facility and then the where we refer to the Jalapeno Festival parking. And Elsie has already been talking with that group. Obviously, this year we probably won't have the air show just from what's going on with COVID, but moving forward, there's been conversations about Saints Auto Arena, I believe, Elsie, where that would happen. But obviously, that's not the highest and best use for this land, is to continue to use it for a parking lot. And, they're in agreement with that as well. So we will work with them as a group. But another really good development in this location. And the park and ride itself never materialized to what it was expected to be. It's pretty mostly a vacant lot these days. So this would add development into those locations.
Thank you. With that being shown, and anybody like to make a motion before we go with any further discussion on this, or?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'm sorry, who was that? That was George, okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
And second?
This is Adrian, I'll second.
Adrian. Anybody have additional discussion or would like more information on this within the advisory board? I think it's a positive move. I think this is great. Good information. I still like that creative name, and I kind of look forward to that. But if there's no further discussion or nobody requires more information, would you like to? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. I think that's all the agenda items. I know we have a request on them, but before we go any further, I know we're out of time. I'd like to congratulate Jeffrey, man. He's for his nomination as well. We have not brought that up. I was waiting to get past this. So congratulations, well deserved, and I'm considering it an honor, man, working with you in the national award. So would you like to say something on that?
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I know nobody's surprised I'm under 40 years old. I've heard that pretty consistently through the city. But it is great. It's the award wouldn't have happened without Elsie, Alejandro, Ashley, the whole team here at the airport. That the airport advisory board that make all these successes happen. And when they look at who receives these awards, it was 40 under 40 individuals within aviation for the year of 2020, and the successes that we've had here collectively as a group is what made my nomination possible. So thank you for the support that you give us as a board, and to the team here in Laredo, because it wouldn't be possible for me to get it without this group. So thank you so much for that, and recognizing it as well. It's humbling to be a part of the Laredo community and the spirit here. And this being my 7th airport, I can say it's the best airport I've been at, and everybody works together and collaboratively, and things like this that we're talking about right now is projects that keep us moving forward. So thank you for everything that you do.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Congratulations again.
Oh, thank you so much.
I know it's a team effort. Yes.
And
okay.
I don't know, Liz or Vice Chairwoman, if you wanted to talk and make a motion for the request as well, if you wanted to be here for that conversation.
Yeah, I need to jump off at 12:30. So if y'all don't mind, yes. It's up to the board. And I make a motion if we can go into 7.1. It's not an action item, but I did read. But I make a motion, please.
Well, anybody is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Let's all in favor. Just kind of expedite, because I know you got like 4 minutes to go. So, okay, all in favor. Okay. Anybody opposed? Just move forward then.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a memo to Airport Advisory Board of committee attendance requirements, automatic forfeiture from the legal department. So, after the last meeting, we went back and forth. The original guidance that I was given changed a little bit. The 1983 ordinance that guides the Airport Advisory Board today supersedes what was passed in 2019. So what that means is all the absences, including today, that you as a group have excused, that counts towards nothing. So anybody that has had absences up to this point of any amount, as long as they were excused, it doesn't affect their ability on the board. However, the motion that was made, I believe, Mr. Gilpin, for to take a memo basically to city council to have all advisory boards throughout the city follow the same logic of attendance that city council has. Legal told us that with this capacity, with this board, that's not an allowable action, so we can't take that forward. However, they did say that individuals with you and your council members, if you'd like to have those conversations individually with them, you can go through that process. Mayor Pro Tem Albert Torres, if you've seen the agenda for the 19th city council meeting, there is a motion, or from him a motion to adopt the 2019 language to this advisory board, which would basically mean it would be an ordinance change, so there'd have to be 2 readings. But at that point, what it would mean moving forward is there could only be 4 absences from this board moving forward. And then at that point, the individual would be off this board and not able to serve on another capacity until the term of that council member was up. So that is something that will be coming forward on the Tuesday city council meeting. Well, it would start when that's approved. So like I said, there'd be 2 readings, and then it would start the absences. So everything that you have up to this point, as long as it was excused, doesn't count. But there was a lot more further guidance from legal, and that's kind of where we stand today.
And Mr. Chairman, I think just, and for the record, just, for moving forward, I know that, when we're asked to serve in committees or boards, I think it would just be a good idea just to kind of review this and make everybody aware, because I wasn't even aware of there was three ordinances, and we just want to do what we're supposed to be doing. So it was just for clarification. So, but I think like a mini training would be a good idea to get everybody on board. You know, council members change and everything, and I might be one of the ones that is going to be off the airport advisory board, but it's just, you know, I'm thinking with I do a lot of compliance, so all these things that they're just in my mind, and I just want to make sure that what we're appointed to do, we do them, and just, you know, just move forward.
I will say, to your point, Ms. Alonso, that the city secretary's office will be conducting a training. They already started prior to the holidays, scheduling more classes as with the new year starting, especially with the new city council that went on into effect. They're going to be having a lot of different appointees to the different committees. So they're going to be doing another set of training specifically to this ordinance for all the different committees.
Okay. All right. Mr. Chairman, if I may I be excused, because I do need to jump on the other meeting. So thank you very much for entertaining this information. Thank you. And happy holidays again.
Holidays. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is George Narvaez. I just want to note that I was a little late. My Wi-Fi was down and I couldn't log in. So, I mean, please don't put me absent, but just hopefully late.
We adjusted the attendance, the roll call a little while ago for you, so we marked you as being present. So
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
I guess we'll follow through with the minutes, approval of the minutes for the regular. Yeah.
I don't know if we can have some information about the new regulations on the international travelers starting on January 29th about the COVID test. I don't know if Elsie or Jeff have some information about it. And I don't know if we can discuss it on this meeting.
Also, I think I don't see. I guess, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I can give a debrief on that real quick.
Please.
So there are some rules that were passed last night. I should say rulemaking by the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, and starting on January 26th, all international flights arriving into the United States, the individuals on those flights will have to present a negative COVID test within the previous 72 hours to travel. So this obviously does impact Aeromar. We're in discussions with them about what this will possibly look like for them as an airline, because it will be not just Mexico, but all countries entering the United States. My assumption of what will happen here is, you know, the cornerstone for the Trump administration has been the travel bans to certain countries, you know, UK, China, wherever it may be. The Airlines for America, the lobbyist group, has been pushing to get this through, I think, as a collective good. There hasn't been that restrictions on Mexico. So in countries where that has been the case, it's more of a deterrent for us. Now we have, obviously it adds a layer for us, but those countries that have been completely locked down, it gives travelers an opportunity to come into the United States. We are tracking it closely because it will have an impact. A couple of the discussions we've been having is if you leave on a Monday flight, according to the way the rule is written now, if you leave on a Monday flight from Laredo and you get a COVID test done here that's negative, as long as within that 72 hours you could return on the Wednesday flight and still be good. And then the Mexico City airport today is having an internal meeting with all the airlines to discuss. Obviously, the simplest solution here would be for Mexico City to have the COVID test available, rapid test for travelers. We don't know what their capacity is. CDC does have some guidance within the rule that was made last night that allows for some variances, 14-day variances, if countries can't get their testing up to that point, but they would get 14 days and then they would have to apply again. So starting on the 26th of this month, anybody coming into the United States, whether that's private aircraft, commercial aircraft, they're going to have to show negative test results or that they had contracted COVID and recovered from COVID. And they would have to have a statement from their doctor stating as such. This rule stays in effect until December 31st of 2021, unless otherwise amended by the CDC or the new administration. So, but my thought process is with the new administration coming in, they will probably use this to lift the bans on other countries that have been banned from air travel since COVID kind of really began. So, it's one of those things that we don't have much control over. We just have to kind of adjust to the new rules and move forward. So we have notified the health authority. We're in close conversations with the airline. And we'll keep everybody advised as we get better information. But we do have until the 26th of this month to get things lined up for travelers.
Is Laredo are you gonna try to set something up where we also offer the rapid test here at the airport for flights going to Mexico, or?
It's one of those things that we're talking about. Obviously, that only would be beneficial to those that are on 3-day travel, because once you're out of that scenario, then you have to get another test in Mexico. So I think the crucial component here is Mexico having the test available in Mexico City at the airport, because that's where ultimately it's going to fall on the responsibility to come back to the United States. So and even with that, the way the rule's written, there could be further guidance. It doesn't explicitly say you can't get a test in the U.S. and then come back within 72 hours, but that may adjust. This rule is brand new. I mean, ideally, I think what the CDC is looking for is you're tested in that country that you're coming from. So we're still the same as everybody. We're adjusting. We're looking at it, what's written in black and white. We're trying to figure out how to make it work. And you're absolutely right, though. We are having those conversations with the health authority and stuff to see if that even is something that would be beneficial here, because it's still really too new to understand if that would even be beneficial to travelers. Ultimately, I think it's going to be more important to get good testing in Mexico to the U.S.
Is it going to be the responsibility of the airline to go ahead and review those tests, or who's going to be the person?
Yes, It would be the airlines. It also it's for any aircraft that enter in the United States. So there are there's some individuals that are not required to be tested. Crew members, any of the flight crew members are not required to provide a test. And neither would any law enforcement that is on official duty, like CBP or anything of that nature. But it would be required by the airlines to take that information and to hold that information for 2 years. How that looks on a private aircraft that's privately owned, that's one of those gray areas within the rule. But in theory, if you're flying even a private aircraft into Laredo from another country, at that point, you would have to have a negative COVID test as well. There's no mention that CBP is going to have any role right now in checking for COVID test paperwork or that you were positive and recovered. So as of right now, it doesn't seem like they have a component in it, but it is an evolving situation, so it's possible it may flow to them as well.
Jeff, I have a question. If you've had the vaccine and you've done both series, how does that play into it? Pardon me?
I was just going to say, and we've had that question, we asked that question. It's not even mentioned in the order from the CDC. So as of right now, as the order stands, if you've had the vaccine, you still would have to provide a negative COVID test. So it's something collectively that we've asked, but they have left out of this order. So regardless of whether you received the vaccine or not, it's not stated. Now, there has been conversation as the vaccine becomes more widely available that airlines at that point may require that you show that you've been vaccinated. But obviously, we've all known that just in this industry, but across the board, that the vaccine is in short supply. But interesting to your point. We had the same question. It's not in the order at all. So as it stands right now, whether you've had the vaccine or not, you still would have to show a negative test.
Because when you get the card right now, when you get the vaccine, you're given a card for travel purposes. So really, what are they using it for? So,
Right. And you know, I do think at some point when that becomes widely available, that card will be kind of universal and you know, reverse of this. But I do agree. I don't know why they left that out for those few that have gotten the vaccine. You would think that would be a part of it, but it is a brand new order. So I'm sure that's part of the conversation. It is from us, and I'm sure collectively airlines and other organizations to see if that could be in lieu of, you know, but right now it's not.
thank you.
Jeff,
Yes.
going back into Mexico, are they gonna be asking for the test?
No. Anybody leaving from the United States to another country is not required to show any tests. Mexico's not going to require that. It would just be back into the United States. And if you're on a connecting flight, and let's say you go, you know, we'll just pick a country, you know, Peru to Mexico to the United States. If you left Peru and your connection time was over 24 hours in Mexico, you would have to get another negative COVID test. It only allows a COVID test from that embarkation point, and any layover that's not longer than 24 hours. So, but leaving the United States and going to another country, right now, no countries have put in that you have to have a negative test. So you could go to Mexico and it's just on your way back.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think the important part, though, too, for the other groups, I don't know, obviously, if this is something that maybe help with border crossings. I know it's something not necessarily at the airport, but that I'm assume our leaders, local leaders, and you guys as well in this, that if they're applying this logic to air travel, maybe it's something that could lobby to open up some of the travel in the bridge system as well, because I know there's always been that component of why can you fly in, but you can't drive in? But maybe they'll adopt some of this for land crossings as well. So, I mean, right now for us, it looks like a negative, but I think, moving forward, hopefully we can get these procedures in place and we can work these scenarios through and give people guidance. Because what I had talked to with Aeromar is to make sure that, at this point, it's required of us. There's nothing we can do, but the best thing that we can do is make sure that everybody has the best guidance available, where they can get the test, where they can, is there going to be a cost to it? And like we talked about before, could you get your test done here? And if you're back in 72 hours, that's still valid. So, we're going to try to work all that together and then have a good marketing campaign to get that information out to passengers.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Thank you.
I guess so we can get back on track. We'll just follow through with the agenda, go with the reports, and go with well, first of all, the approval of minutes. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes.
And all I would ask, Mr. Chairman, is I know last time there was a request to get the minutes out maybe a little bit sooner. I don't know if that process was worked okay on this end, or we still need to tweak some things so you have better time to review.
We received them yesterday, so I saw that they went out. So hopefully that's enough time.
We sent them,
Anybody have any comments on it?
we sent them last week when we posted the agenda, and then we put it also on the calendar invite. They're embedded in the invite. And then Ashley also sent the full packet, I think, a couple of minutes ago as well, as a reminder. So we hope that everyone has ample time to check it. Just for housekeeping, if you're not speaking, or please mute your phones or your system. I'm hearing a lot of static on the background. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Great. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. I'm sorry, who's second? Was that you, Tom, or somebody else? Jeff? Jeff. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes for the minutes, and great. We're already passed the citizens' comments, so you know, if there's any comments that made, the citizens are allowed to make it. So I guess we'll go forward with staff reports.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. So the first staff report you'll see on here is the passenger activity report. So you'll see we're still calculating through December, but the trend has been roughly about the same. Obviously, with the news coming out, you know, more COVID cases here within the community, we still see that downward trend. We have seen traffic come back, some positivities, especially on United and Allegiant. Las Vegas is still closed down midweek at a lot of hotels. There's no, besides gambling, a lot of the attractions are still closed in Nevada. So we're seeing good numbers on the Thursday flight, Thursday to Sunday, so into the weekend, but the Sunday departure is still relatively weak performer. And not surprising because there's not too much open in Vegas right now on weekdays for individuals to do so. But we're still tracking that. The new DOT rule with the passage of the new Relief Act does have requirements in there for passenger service to be reinstated. But the good news is that we talked about before, our passenger traffic has not dropped to the minimum levels, even when it wasn't required any further from CARES Act to the new legislation. So I don't anticipate us to see any changes right now either way with our traffic as far as losing down to minimums between the four, well, in this case, 3 carriers that are required are the DOT. But you'll see in here that the numbers are still tracking down, and it really it's going to depend on the vaccine getting widely available and distributed for use before we see these numbers return to normalcy. Moving forward with the cargo activity report, we're still calculating December to see where we end up. You can see that we've made some ground though on those significant reductions that we saw back in April, May, June, October, obviously being a bright spot with 113% increase. We're down 32% in total weight of landing right now with cargo. So from what we're tracking right now, it appears that 2021 will be a more positive year in automotive. So we're hoping that trend will continue to push these numbers up. But you can see that we're still tracking lower. As we calculate December, I hope that negative 32% closes. Moving forward to the federal inspection station operations, year-end total cargo operations that went through the FIS, positive note being up almost 12%. That's good considering where we were, as you can see, making up throughout the year and actually being up year over year from last at about 12%. So that's a good positive note. SAT operations are, negative, down about 40%. It goes back to what's happening both in countries with COVID. General theme that we've seen for a while now in aviation. The next page in the federal inspection, you can see our total activity for air charter, air taxi, private operations. Total passengers were down about 15% year over year. We're contributing that as well to what's going on in the industry, but not as significant as what we've seen. And then as we tracked into the beginning of the new year, going up 10, 28%. But, that the national news obviously is focusing heavily on what's happening with COVID and contracting and variations of new COVID strains. All that obviously has a big impact on how much people are traveling. The next side to this is a synapse of total FIS operations, which is good. Collectively, total, we're sitting about 0.65% negative for the year. So it definitely, it shows some resiliency. If you look across the board in our industry, Most airports are significantly down on all cargo and through passenger traffic, private traffic. Obviously some of those larger cargo airports are up in Memphis and Louisville, but I think it's a testament to, the community, obviously, that, through even these very turbulent times that we're seeing a recovery, and, not as significant losses as we have through the beginning of the year. Going hand in hand with that logic on the fuel report, you'll see here, there was a change. So I don't know. We had a calculation error in it. So I did want to bring that to everybody's attention, which is good news. The calculation error is more in our favor. So if you look at the bottom, total right now, calculating still December, about 30% difference in total gallons, with a variance of $176,000 that, we had some wrong figures in there. So that last column was showing around 700,000. So, better news, at least not as significantly down. And hopefully December, we'll see some of these numbers return. As we went in December, cargo, traffic was still trending up. So hopefully that as we compile reports, we'll be able to show something a little bit better next month. And then on the delinquent report, Mr. Chairman, we did have another adjustment on this as we went. So we had, on this one, one of the earlier ones that you saw in the week, there was budget rental car on here. As we went through that and looked at what happened, Avis acquired budget. So they were actually paying two separate accounts, Avis and now budget under an umbrella. So budget was not delinquent. They were paying up to date. So we removed them from this. And you can see where we were last month, even with that. Manuel and Ashley, the staff here, has done a really good job at bringing this down to 18,000 from where we were about a month ago. Which, Elsie, we were sitting around, was it 50 to 70,000? I can't remember where we were last month.
Yes, sir. And also the changes, of course, that we discussed in regards to jet rising and sales of that property would normally come out in the delinquent report. That's changed now as well as they're moving into their exit plan.
And Mr. Chairman, I believe that's the last report I have. If there's any questions on the reports themselves.
Taking into consideration the circumstances now, sit there and we just have to push through it. Hopefully that we could have a solution sooner than later, so, hopefully we start having our upticks coming up here real soon. So, anybody have any comments on this? I guess no. We'll move forward. We've already done all the reports, citizens' comments. Guess we've gone through the request. We've done through the entire agenda. Anybody have any additional comments or any requests that they'd like to make? If not, I think we've already finished our meeting early. A couple of minutes give back some time to everybody. So I got 12:53. I'd like to. Anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
George, second Judge. All right. Meetings have been adjourned. Thanks for participating. Look forward to seeing you next month. And Happy New Year to everybody. Wish you guys all the best. Congratulations again, Jeffrey.